This is the Georgia Dogs Podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.
It did. Joe Cox with an up and out. Wide open. Touchdown. Israel 2.
Snap to Young. Drops back. Pressure from the edges. He throws near sideline. And it's intercepted. Intercepted. Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes. 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Near sideline. Breaks the tackle. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. 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 Georgia.
Good evening, neighborhood. How about them dogs?
32, 18. Let the celebration begin.
What's up, everybody? It's the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network, coming at you live on the video side of it on Brinks TV. We have we're back. Episode 2 of season 3. We're rocking and rolling through the summer. July 4th is coming up. We're going to talk a little barbecue at towards the end when we wrap this thing up, but we got a lot of exciting stuff. Some things happening in the quarterback world since we last saw you. We talked a little bit about it. We alluded to it. A decision hadn't been made, and then as soon as we hang up and wake up on Friday morning last week, the news broke that Arch Manning committed to the University of Texas. But before we get to that, I want to thank our fine folks at Betonline.ag. They continue to be the number one source for all your sports betting needs and sports info. So find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's Wimbledon finals. I have no clue how to bet on tennis, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. So head to the website or use your mobile device. Sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use that promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get your bonus and get into that action. Bet online, that's where the game starts. Troop, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, what's up, brother?
You seem a little tired. How's football going?
I'm worn out. We finally got the day week now, so I can get my batteries recharged. Had a good OTA today. Had a nice brawl at the beginning, bright and early this morning. But, it was good. It was really good, get the juices flowing. Football season right around the corner. So I'm excited. I think our kids were excited today, too. Ended up being a good day today for us.
Yeah, I mean, you wake up and choose violence. Looks like you're getting your preseason beard going. You got to get the clean slate. So you got that rocking and rolling. So, man, it's good to be back on the airwaves here on the Believe Network. We got a lot of big things happening. Over at y'all's conference network with my other shows as well. So we're going to try to feed into that. But Troop, Arch Manning goes to Texas. I wasn't overly surprised. I don't know if you were either. There were some factors over there. Steve Sarkisian is one of the best quarterback recruiters in the country. I think he got validated by David Cutcliffe. I just think the Mannings liked what they saw over in Austin, the situation, what they were building at Texas. They're going to be in the SEC probably sooner rather than later at this point with all that's happening today. So were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised at all. I think we talked about it on Beast of the East, about him going or where he was going. I predicted Texas. Steve Sarkisian is the quarterback whisperer. He turned a nobody quarterback into a Heisman candidate. Heisman. He was one of the top runners for the Heisman. First round draft pick, with the Patriots. So I mean, he's done a phenomenal job, developing quarterbacks. So that's no surprise. And I know Georgia fans, we always want the 5-star guy and all this stuff. Right. And it'd been nice to have a Manning, in Athens, but at the same time, the kid went somewhere where he has a chance to play quickly. I think the situation itself for playing time definitely suited him better at Texas than it did at Georgia. And in my opinion, this is solely my opinion, just from watching game tape on him and the competition that he plays. I think we got the better deal in Gunnar Stockton
Absolutely.
coming up in the future anyway, just from a competition standpoint. Of course, he's a Manning, so he's going to be good, but, to be thrown in that fire right now, Georgia football is one of the best. So I think Gunnar Stockton, I think we got a better deal out of it with him.
And I think had we not done such a good job recruiting the last couple of cycles with Vandegrift and Stockton, I think this would cause a little bit more panic in the Georgia football world, but it's really not. Like we shot our shot. We didn't get them. So we're just going to – I mean, it looks like we may skip the quarterback position altogether this cycle and go all in on somebody like Raiola next cycle, the 2024 cycle. So a lot of intriguing things there, a lot of intriguing things with the quarterback position. But I just wanted to briefly touch on this because I don't think anybody was surprised. I think a lot of people had their hopes up, like maybe Arch. We were in Arch's top 2, which, in today's college football, that's a good place to be because if you're number 2, that transfer portal looks mighty enticing. So, and we're still 6 months away from signing day, early signing day. So don't think that Kirby's not going to keep recruiting this kid.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I mean, he's a Manning. So, that competitive edge is already in him. I saw on Twitter, I tweeted, get ready for grown-ups to be upset about a kid in his college decision. He's a kid. They got to do what's best for them. I think Texas is on the up and coming. I think Sarkis is doing a great job. The facilities are going to be amazing. They're pouring more and more money into the program. So I think Texas is a great situation for him. And I mean, people say he's running away from the SEC. Actually, he's not. He's actually running into the SEC because Texas and Oklahoma are about to be in the SEC next year, if I'm not mistaken, or the year after that.
Yeah, I think they got one more year in the Big 12, then they join. Is there red flags that he's not doing Elite 11, that he didn't do Elite 11?
No, I don't think so. I think he's proven what he needs to, and you got to think, the Elite 11 is great. It's to get eyes on, quarterbacks who otherwise wouldn't be seen outside the spectrum of recruiting. But I think he's pretty much proven, what he can do. And I mean, he's a Manning at the end of the day. So obviously the kid he doesn't really need to go and say, "Oh, look, I can throw the ball 70 yards." I mean, we know he can. He's got 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks as uncles. You know what I mean? So I think he's fine.
I think he's fine too. I think he'll be a great quarterback at Texas. So what does that leave for our quarterback room? So I was just exploring some of the other Georgia shows just to kind of see what was out there. I think other than this show right here, I mean, I'm kind of partial, but other than this show right here, I think DGD does a really good job with Robert Reynolds and Juan Daniels. And to be honest with you, Dane Young, they do a pretty good job, him and Jim Donnan, and I believe it's Roddy Nabulsi. They do a good job over at UJ Sports. But I was listening to a group over at Locked On, and they're talking about the quarterback room, and they're kind of talking about, okay, there's no Arch Manning as of this moment. So what does that leave? Where does that leave this quarterback room? Obviously Stetson this year, right? Unless he gets hurt. So right now it's a race for that coveted number 2 spot because that person's going to be the front runner coming into the following season when it's wide open. So you get Carson Beck, Gunnar Stockton, and Brock Vandegrift, and whatever freshman we possibly bring in, or if there's a freshman we bring in the 2024 cycle, he gets in the mix the next year. But with the way that they evaluate quarterbacks, I heard it described as like we don't always pick the right quarterback, but I kind of like looked sideways at that because I was like, well, the most talented is not necessarily the best quarterback, because if we went with the most talented, we would have rolled with JT Daniels, and who knows, we may have gone 9-3, 10-2 for all we know. I mean, we may not have had the same success. You have to pick the right quarterback, and I think I'm going to choose to trust Todd Monken and Kirby Smart to know what they're looking for. And what they're looking for is, I mean, JT Daniels, don't get me wrong, he's going to do really good at West Virginia. I think he fits that system a little bit better, possibly. I haven't really dove into the Neil Brown system, but I think he fits more. I think he fits better in that system than he did with, because we are a play action, move the pocket, RPO, quarterback run game type of offense. Like that's what we are. And if you look at the quarterbacks that we have, aside from Carson Beck, I mean, you look at Brock Vandagriff and Gunnar Stockton, they're both runners. They both move the pocket. They both can throw on the run. They both can escape. They're very dynamic athletes. And you can it's obvious that we're building that pipeline with Todd Monken, Buster Faulkner, and the offensive staff. That's the quarterback we're building for. Stetson gave us everything we needed with that skill set. That's why he was QB1 last year. So saying that, my bold prediction is going to be Gunnar Stockton. That's my bold prediction. Like, I think he's going to be you watch Gunnar Stockton, he has some sort of it factor. You know, you look at him, he has the toughness. He played a really tough schedule, really tough competition. I think Thomas County Central held him in check for the most part, but I mean, you know, he's a high school kid. He's allowed to not be perfect. He's allowed to struggle in a game. Those other kids play varsity football too. And I just think he has an it factor. And I think that once he finally gets comfortable, I mean, he's only had a spring practice under his belt, so we really don't have a huge sample size. But I think the guys will rally around him, and I think he's the 5-star talent version and skill set of what Stetson Bennett brings to this offense. I just think he's a little bit better physically than Stetson Bennett is right now. But Stetson obviously just led us to a national championship, so you know, it's a compliment to Gunnar. I'm not saying Stetson is less than Gunnar. I'm just saying that, you know, I think next year Gunnar is going to be the guy. I think he's going to take over.
Absolutely. I think, you know, I hope nobody takes offense to what I'm saying. There's a reason why 2 football coaches are hosting this podcast. Simply because you get a coaching viewpoint, you know, of the quarterback position of football itself. If you're looking
We're 2
at
offensive
stats,
coordinators too, so we really know.
Yeah. And if you're looking at stats or stars or anything like that, I mean, that's what you're going to go on. You're going to make those predictions. You're going to say Georgia got it wrong. Yeah, well, Georgia's got rings. You know, they got a ring this year with Stetson Bennett. You know, who knows what would happen with JT Daniels? You know, we could have won national championship. We could have, you know, lost in the semifinals. We could have gone 9-3. You never know what would happen. But at the end of the day, we're national champions. And that's what matters with Stetson Bennett. You know what I mean? So the coaching staff went with the quarterback that gave us the best chance to win in the system that was set in place.
Yeah, exactly.
The system is not a straight drop back, you know, dink and dump, you know, throw the ball 50 times down the field. It is a who can move the pocket, who can man the offense, who can get us in the right situation. If the play breaks down, who can run the ball, who can, you know, make plays with his feet, you know, who can move on, who can throw on the run, move the pocket a little bit. If we get in a lot of edge pressure, offensive line breaks down, you know, things like that. You got to think of how many plays that Stetson made with his feet. You know, I watched the Tennessee game the other day, and, you know, there was 3 or 4 times where he eludes a sack, you know, takes off with his legs. JT Daniels doesn't give you that element, you know, so the offensive staff got it right.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think Beck could go into it as the number 2 to start off with. I think Gunnar will get better. I think Vandagriff will get better. But like you said, I think eventually Gunnar's going to end up taking that number 2 spot, simply from a standpoint of his athletic ability within the offense. He gives you that mobile quarterback just like Stetson. I watched him against Thomasville. This kid's tough. I mean, second quarter, I mean, he gets hit under the chin, and he's gushing blood from his nose. I mean, he's like, no, coach, I can go back in. He goes back in, throws a touchdown. You know, he's got moxie, you know. So Gunner's Georgia's future right now, in my opinion. Can Carson Beck get better. I think Carson Beck had a great spring game. So I think it's his job to lose personally. But I think he's got some stiff competition behind him. Vandergrift, to me, is the quarterback out right now. Just from watching the spring game, I think he
didn't look comfortable.
He doesn't have the moxie as the other two. I think Carson did a great job with second offense of taking command, made some key throws, moved the offense. So it's Carson's job to lose, and I think Gunner's right on his heels right now.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think you'll see it kind of get even more level with when they get into fall camp. They get into these scrimmages. You're gonna get a lot of quality reps against the scout team with those guys to kind of see who can stack up, and I think that's where you're going to get your true quarterback competition. And I absolutely love that. I love that these guys get after it on the scout team and try to make throws and try to pressure our defense. And they go against one of the top defenses in the country every week. I think that's what made Stetson Bennett who he was, because I mean, as early as the 2017 national championship run when he played Baker Mayfield on the scout team, that kind of forged him, and that was his national championship game. So he a lot of those situations he's already been in practice. And then he takes his lumps in the 2020 season. Obviously takes us as far as he could have taken us, learned a lot, obviously, and was ready the next time they called his name. Just didn't go away, could have tucked tailed and said, I'm going to transfer and go to Furman and be the next quarterback at Furman and finish out my career, but he didn't. He stuck around. And he won the job. So, hats off to him. I think it's a great quarterback room. I don't think any of these guys are bad. But somebody's got to finish last in the pecking order. Somebody's got to finish first in the pecking order. So, unfortunately, I think Vandegrift has kind of fallen behind those two guys. I really liked Beck in the spring game. I think he's got the early lead on it. But, again, I'm going to stick with my bold prediction. I think Gunnar Stockton by the end of the season and going into spring next, I think he wins the job next spring. I think Beck's going to –
I've never seen a fan base that's so ready to, pull the plug on national winning quarterbacks.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't understand the hate that most people have for Stetson Bennett. He's a quiet kid. He doesn't get in trouble.
No,
he does what he's coached to do. He's a normal quarterback. He makes mistakes just like anybody else. I mean,
the team loves him. Yeah, the reason why people hate him and don't give him the leash is because he's a 2-star and he's 5'11" and he's a small guy and just a regular looking dude, and just everybody's like, well, we're Georgia. We should have this big 6'4" freaking fireballer and 5-star guy that has all the accolades and all the – no, dude. I'm gonna take the scrappy dude that's going to lead us to the championship, man. That guy's got – I mean, you want to talk about cojones. That guy's got him.
Every coach that I talk to that's a Georgia fan is excited about Stetson Bennett. Every coach – that's what I'm putting at. Every coach – that I've talked to that's a Georgia fan. Yeah. Every fan is not excited, and you see the difference in those two.
What's a ringing endorsement is opposing fans wish that he would have moved on. Yeah. Like the Tennessee fans that I coach with, they're not excited that he's back.
You gotta understand, he's the giant killer. Something that a lot of quarterbacks couldn't do. Aaron Murray couldn't beat Alabama.
No.
And what's his name? Fromm didn't beat Alabama.
No.
And guess who beat him? 2-star Stetson Bennett.
Yeah. The freaking tough, scrappy kid who just fought his way. I mean, it's a great story, and he really is. I mean, he earned every ounce of it. So, but not to drudge up an old quarterback battle, but you mentioned the name Jake Fromm, but the whole deal with him and Justin Fields, and I always go back to Justin Fields is way more talented. Obviously, he was a first-round pick and starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. I mean, that speaks for itself, right? But what we were doing offensively at that point, it was a mess. First of all, with James Coley. And second of all, I think I don't know that you put Justin Fields in there if it gets any better. I think the system was screwed up. The quarterback development was non-existent. I just don't think it would have been a good situation. Had he waited another year for Monken to come in, I think he would have beat out. I think he would have been the guy to lead the pack.
There's no doubt in my mind that Justin Fields would have won the starting quarterback position if he had stayed another year. And Monken would have came in. The development of him as a quarterback, kind of what he did with Ryan Day when he got to Ohio State. He became a better passer, a better runner.
Perfect scheme for him.
He understood coverage. He understood leverage, how to throw the ball, when to throw the ball, windows, all the things that quarterbacks learn. He didn't learn while he was there. Because all we did was hand the ball off. Unbalanced formation, hand the ball off.
Yeah, it was.
We lost South Carolina in the same formation the whole entire game. I was at the game. Trust me on that. So
it was baffling. I don't understand it.
Fromm wasn't asked to do a lot. Fromm was asked to hand the ball up to Sonny Michel, Nick Chubb, Swift, and all those guys. So why do you need a game changer at quarterback?
You don't for what we were doing, because that was Jim Chaney's last year, actually.
Yeah. So I mean,
because he transferred the next year. Yeah.
So he wasn't asked to do a whole lot. I mean, you got to understand the scheme of the offense, and whatever quarterback fits the scheme is the one that's going to start. That's in case people. That's how it works. Whoever fits the scheme of the offense is going to be the starter.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really simple. But
it matters.
People look at stars and rivals, and just because you know how to read does not mean that that's how it should be.
And just because you're a 4-star doesn't mean you can fit in any scheme anywhere. It's not true.
4 stars in the portal, no matter what position.
There's a lot of 3 stars in the NFL. And there's a lot of 5 stars in the NFL too. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of 3 stars in the NFL because they fit a specific role, and that's what it takes. So, to those that say that just sign the best quarterback you can, no, you got to find the right quarterback, and you got to be intentional about it.
If you sign the best quarterback you can, you have room for the quarterbacks that we're going to play. Only one can be on the field at one time.
Right.
Not like receiver or offensive line. Now, I mean, there's one person that takes a snap. So why have 10 of them?
And in this day and age, you're never going to have more than 2, because you're going to have a bunch of guys transfer out, most likely with NIL, and they get opportunities elsewhere. I just don't. I don't understand this whole like quarterback thing, but I guess I never will. Fans are fans. People are entitled to their opinion. I get it, but I don't agree with it, but I get it. I think Stetson's going to be a great quarterback. Somebody asked me. I responded to one of these threads by Row One, and I guess this can kind of lead into our overview, our general expectations for the season before we really start kind of breaking down the schedule and opponents and things like that. But there was a question that says, who's going to win the national championship this year? And I said, obviously, Georgia with the repeat. He asked me why. I said, we have a loaded offense. Probably, we have a loaded offense. I didn't get into specifics, but we have a loaded offense, and we have a defense that, we lost 5 guys in the first round, but we still have a lot of experience. Not starting experience, but we have a lot of playing experience still coming back. We have a lot of good talent and playing experience of guys that fit our scheme still coming back. I mean, are we going to be the team that gives up 6.5 points per game? Probably not. Probably not ever. That was the best defense in the history of college football, statistically, as far as total D and points per game. Ridiculous. I don't know that anybody can do that. But we're going to, even if we get worse and we average significant drop-off would be giving up 14 points a game. That'd be a significant drop-off. That's still pretty damn good, right?
Yes.
And I think we can. I think we're there. So my expectations is that we're right back in the mix. But it's college football. Alabama's Alabama. Ohio State's loaded up, ready to roll. So, I mean, you still got to play through the playoff, and you still got to run the gauntlet of the SEC. And we got a fairly easy schedule. Although I don't love where the Mississippi State game is. I don't love that game's late, but I think we have all the pieces in place to be a team that can repeat. Yeah,
there's no doubt in my mind that we can. I think it's the point of realizing that you won the national championship last year. This is an entire year. Now you're the team to beat. That's one thing that Alabama does do well. Whether they win or they lose it, they are always the team to beat. I think now it's Georgia's turn. I think we have to embrace that. We have to work, just like we're the underdog. We have to work as if we never won it. We have to work as if we never beat Alabama.
We are 2009 Bama right now.
Yeah, and the dynasty is starting, and we have to continue to work. We have to stay hungry. You can't get complacent. Exactly. I don't think the coaching staff is going to let that happen.
No,
and Kirby staying hungry.
And Kirby was around in 2010 when they had that drop off where they lost 3 games and didn't even win their division. Auburn won the division that year and went on to win the national championship. And they lost. They got upset by South Carolina, a game they should have never lost. But as a coach, you have a team that won it all. You have a team that's flying high. They're reading the press clippings. How do you manage those expectations? How do you come in and say, okay, we've got to make sure that we prevent that from happening and we stay focused on the prize?
Yeah, I had the of coaching with the Great Rush Probes in 2015. The year before they won it, in 2014-15, his big thing was you're the team to beat. You got to stay hungry. You can't get complacent. And that was his speech every day, whether it was practice, whether it was a game, whether it was a pregame meal. It was you're the team to beat, and we practice that way. We practice as if, we went 0-10 the year before. He never took his foot off the gas, and then that's what you have to do. He wanted to go 15-0. That was the goal. That senior group wanted to go 15-0. They wanted to repeat. They wanted to be national champions, so they practiced that way every day. And going into games, they played that way. There are times that we're down for sure because it's football. There's going to be times where the team has the upper hand, but you fight, you don't give up, and that's what they did. I mean, they fought. They were all the way through, went 15-0. We won the state championship, and we were national champions that year. From the simple fact of Rush didn't let that team get complacent. That senior group has been starting since they were sophomores.
Right.
So they've been through the fire. They had come off 2 previous semifinal games, and 2014 was that magical year. And that group was coming back again as seniors, so they wanted to do it again. And so Rush just kept his foot on their neck and was like, "Hey, this is the recipe. You got to stay hungry. You can't get complacent. You got to show up every day, with your hard hat, your lunch pail, and be ready to go." And I think that's the approach that Georgia Needs takes this year. So from the simple fact that you're the team to beat. Everybody wants you. Alabama wants you again. So any historian will know that anytime Alabama loses the national championship, they come back the next year with a vengeance. So everybody better be ready, even Georgia. Because in that SEC championship game, if we meet up with them again, it's going to be a dogfight. And whoever's going to come out on top is going to be the eventual national champion.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a actual game plan in the SEC championship this year versus whatever that weird crap was that they did this past year. But so Stetson is an obvious leader on the offensive side of the ball. Brock Bowers, obvious leader, offensive side of the ball. But defense, you lose Nakobe Dean, you lose Jordan Davis. Those are not only 2 elite players, but they're 2 elite leaders too. Who leads the bunch over there? Who's the guy that who's the guy that chews out somebody and then goes and gives them his first one in line to give him props like Nakobe did in the national championship with Channing Tindall?
I think you look at guys like that come back, Beal, Nolan, Ringo. I call him Big Hoss, number 88.
Jalen Carter, yeah.
Big Carter, man, I love him. I think you look at those guys who played significant minutes that year, who are coming back, to lead the defense. I think we had a really good spring game. I think you're trying to fit in some pieces, and you look for some new guys to come in, and make things shake. So I think the defense is going to be fine. I think they're going to be great. We're still big. We're still physical up front. That's never going to change in the Kirby Smart defense, no matter who's calling the defense. But I think we're going to be better. I think you got more defensive minds involved now on that side of football. Of course, you got Kirby, but you got Muschamp, Coach Schumann,
Trey Scott.
You got our new DB coach. So I mean, we're going to be great. Dawson just came back, to help out with the secondary. So I mean, you got some talented coaches on that side of the ball. So it's just the point of, let's not get ahead of ourselves. They're going to give a big play here and there. Just stay consistent. Like you said, if we give them 14 points a game, we can score 17, offensively. I think we can score 2 touchdowns and a field goal. If you hold, your opponents to 14 points a game, we win every single game. 17-14, no matter what.
Yeah, but we're going to be explosive. We're going to be explosive offensively.
Absolutely. So I think defensively is just, don't try to be the team of last year. You got to have your own identity. Just come in and stay hungry, and great things are going to happen. Of course, you lose that veteran leadership with N'Kobe and all those guys leaving, but at the same time, you got some key players that came back. Some key players that got valuable playing time during the year, who are going to be great ball players for us. And some young guys that are coming in who show some kahunas, as you would say, during the spring game. I was very impressed with that group, and we got some guys coming in too.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. I'm excited. Those guys will get a chance to play. Obviously, we play a lot of guys over there on that side of the ball. But what's really awesome, and what's really awesome for guys like Sheldon Dawson and Mike Bobo and Buster Faulkner and whoever else we have as analysts and QCs and stuff like that, they're about to up the on the field limit to 16 on field coaches. So those guys don't have to coach incognito anymore, which is going to be huge because now you have an NFL model where the coordinator can literally pace around the practice field, and you have Buster working with the offensive or the quarterbacks. You have Dawson working with the DBs. Dawson and Fran Brown can now split the DBs up. They can, Muschamp can kind of oversee some things. The linebackers, they probably have an assistant that works with them, so they can split those guys. The defensive line doesn't really need anybody, but I think you have, the offensive line, they can do some more creative stuff because you have extra bodies out there that can actually now coach. You have scout teams that can be coached up like their own position group. So, I think you have a couple of QCs that coach up each side of the scout team and manage that. So I'm excited that that's going to be a rule. I think it's long overdue, because gone are the days of 10 coaches can get it done at the college level. You have high schools. Even here in Tennessee, we have high schools that have 16, 17, 18 coaches. We were playing a school last year, Gallatin High School, and they were walking out, and the team walked out. There's 110 players, and then the coaches walked out behind them, and it's there's just a never-ending string of coaches coming out. They just kept coming. I was like, good Lord, they have a coach for every player.
We have 18 coaches, I believe.
Good
just
Lord.
From ninth grade up to varsity.
So what are staff meetings like? Okay, we have 8 coaches, and we're thrilled about that where I am. But what's an 18 coach staff meeting like?
Well, it's really fun from the simple fact that you're not going to be there all day. Each one of them have a job. It's different duties and things like that. We kind of break up everything. to where one coach is not just bogged down in work, whether it's field work, whether it's film work, weight room duties and things like that. So you just break up everything you have. Like you say, you just have more eyes. All of us work together as a cohesive unit. So whatever I say, my other receiver coach says, or me and the quarterback coach are on the same page and things like that. So,
you have get to kind of be a CEO.
No, I'm a worker. I'm a worker. So our calls go through the head coach. So whatever we call, he yay or nays it between myself and the line coach. So we just work, and it's great to have like-mindedness. Nobody has an ego. It's all for winning at the end of the day. We want to hold that trophy up in December. At the end of the season, get the ring on our finger as well. So, it's just one big happy family, really. At the end of the day, it's you win games just because all those guys are bought in. There's no, like I said, there's no ego. It's all about winning and getting our kids to the next level.
Absolutely, and it really gives some development to the JV guys because they can. You have guys that can be dedicated to JV and freshmen, and there's some development there. Like we have to get creative where I am, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I wish as a district that we would kind of reorganize some stuff as a district on how we pay coaches and how we hire coaches and things like that. We don't have booster clubs. We don't have any of that.
Oh, yeah, we got a huge booster club. I mean, our booster club does a phenomenal job for us. We literally only have to do one fundraiser a year. And it's a small one, it's just to literally recondition helmets. You know what I mean? And the booster club handles everything else as far as travel and pregame meals and all that stuff. So, it's great down here. The way they have everything set up, for us is it's all set up for you to succeed. And people think, y'all got 18 coaches. No, it's one big room of just guys who love football, who love the kids, and we're there to win football games. That's what we're there for.
And as long as everybody's down with that mission, that's the way to go. So, but it's long overdue at the college level. If y'all can do it at Ware County, I mean, why can't you do it at Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama? And
all high schools are here in Georgia. At the lower levels, they really don't have the budget to do it, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's an abundance of coaches, to help, give us, like you said, basically just give another set of eyes, things that you might miss. You got another coach that say, hey, coach, they're doing this. Coach, he's falling off his back foot if you're with the quarterbacks, things like that you might miss because you're looking at something else.
Right. And that's extremely valuable intel to have. I'm not sure if I want to go upstairs or if I want to put somebody upstairs so I can talk to my quarterback when he comes off the field. Because I feel better calling a game from upstairs, but I know the importance of me having to be on the field to talk to the quarterback. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that, but you and I can talk about that more in depth later. I want to get your idea on what's happening with the Big Ten, how that's going to lead and affect super conferences. UCLA and USC have budding rivalries with Maryland and Rutgers that they just so desperately wanted to rekindle, so they joined the Big Ten. So what super conferences, we're headed that way. It's about to be an arms race to pick off the Big 12 and the ACC at this point, and the rest of the Pac-12. This is going to be fun to kind of try to figure out who's going to go where, predict who's going to go where.
This is going to be fun for the simple fact that we got 2 California teams going to play in the cold.
That's hilarious.
I don't know whose idea this was, but this is a terrible idea if that's the conference that you want to go to. I think everybody's running from Utah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's literally running from Utah.
Yeah,
Washington's going to be better this year. Oregon's going to be better. Oregon State's on the rise. I mean,
Stanford's
everybody
always
over
solid.
there. Washington State, you know, is going to be better this year. So all the teams in the Pac-10 are going to be better. And I think those two teams were on the outside looking in. So they're like, hey, let's go over here. But you still got Michigan, still got Ohio State, still got Michigan State, you still got Minnesota.
Penn State, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's going to be better.
Yeah.
And there's
Michigan
always
State?
the pesky, and the pesky Purdue's and the Northwesterns of the world.
Well, I mean, Iowa.
And Indiana.
Iowa, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Iowa.
Yeah. Like they're contending for their division just about every other year. It's nuts, man. Like I you see it and you're like, it's just not a fit. Like they, I mean, I joke, but like it's going to be, can you picture, okay, no, it's November 15th, game time temperature, 7 degrees, driving snow. Can you see Lincoln Riley over there with his little play sheet going, we're going to go.
The good thing about Lincoln is that it did get kind of cold in Oklahoma there in the late during the season. That's his only saving grace.
It did not get New Jersey cold.
Kelly was in Philly, so you know it gets cold for him. But I'm thinking from a player standpoint, that's why kids go to UCLA and USC,
so they can play on the West Coast. They play their one cold game in Seattle every other year.
Yeah, so
or the Palouse in Washington State. So, I mean, you play 3/4 of your schedule.
Of all places to go, I would think they would go to the ACC. They would fit in the ACC.
They'd fit in the SEC too. I thought they'd go SEC if they wanted to go major conference.
No, they ain't coming over here.
No, we wouldn't have them probably.
No, ain't nobody going over there to play them.
Shoot, no. Vandy get all over that. What?
Oregon's coming to Atlanta.
I know they are. They ain't scared. Oregon ain't scared.
We ain't going over there.
Yeah. Screw that. We ain't going out there to Eugene. You can come down here. Yeah, that's crazy, man. And I think we're going to swallow up the entire ACC just about and leave like the northern half for the Big Ten and the Big 12 to fight over.
You know, I saw that, and I know you tweeted it too. You know, they're going to that 3-5-5 deal. I think it's a good idea. I think that SEC is probably going to go to it here soon once Oklahoma and Texas come in.
Yeah.
But I think it's good for the sport. I think it's time that, you know, all the teams play each other, you know, at least one time, you know, a year, and do it that way. And it's also going to keep the ACC relevant because eventually a lot of those teams are going to defect too.
I mean, your second best team just about every year is sitting at home watching Duke play Clemson in the championship game. Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
One slip up over there in his ball game.
Yeah. I mean, Miami and Clemson are the same.
SEC, if you slip up, you got a chance still to make it.
Yeah, because everybody's beating up on each other. Yeah. Yeah, ACC is long overdue for no divisions. And that's what makes the Big 12 watchable is they don't have divisions anymore. So there's no longer like Texas and Oklahoma fighting it out for the number 1 spot to see who plays Nebraska, who's like 6-6 in the Big 12 championship game. You know, they're you know, they had a really good championship game this past year. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. They had a really good game. Mm-hmm. 2 best teams in the league. Really good game. I mean, they didn't do much in the bowl games, but the championship game was good. So, I could see this thing just splitting up into 2 leagues, and like it coming down to like you play a little 2 or 3 game playoff, like the top 4 teams play like a semifinal deal, like a little tournament, you know, like 2 games, and then it leads to a Super Bowl with the Big Ten and SEC. Like, I think that's what we're like. I would not shock me whatsoever for that to happen.
I think that's why they went to the Big Ten, because the Big Ten has the best chance to get into the playoff. Mm-hmm. If you look at Ohio State, Michigan, last couple of years. Michigan State was on the cusp of doing it as well.
Well, they got in that one year. They got in, I think it was the year Alabama beat Clemson. And it was 2015, I think. Alabama beat Clemson, and then the next year Clemson returned the favor. But I think that first game was Michigan State just getting drubbed by Bama.
Mm-hmm.
They had Cousins.
I think both of those teams feel like they have the best teams, so they feel like that conference will give them the best chance to get in. I mean, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play in the snow.
It's a smart move on that front, but oh boy, like you're going to Ann Arbor in November.
Did you see? Was it? I think it was the Michigan State game when they played this year, and it was snow everywhere.
Yeah, same with the Michigan Ohio State game. It was driving snow in the second half. Yeah, a lot of snow games.
It's going to be funny to see those West Coast guys play.
Oh, God, those UCLA rolls into like West Lafayette. They're like, where in the hell am I? They look around and see nothing but cornfields.
You go to Minnesota in September and it's snowing. Good luck, buddy.
Labor Day weekend. Who are we kidding?
Good luck.
Yeah. Have fun with that. Try rowing the boat in a sheet of ice.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln. Yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, business-wise, revenue sharing, TV deals, all that stuff, great move.
Great move.
Football competition-wise, not so sure.
Great move. I think it's a football competition-wise, too, as far as a whole. I think you get more competition because, like I said, the Purdue's of the world, Northwestern, Purdue's getting better. They knocked off a couple of teams last year. Mm-hmm. Northwestern. You know what you're going to get from them. They'll surprise a team here or there. But as a whole, I think the Big Ten is very competitive as a whole.
Yeah.
The Pac-12 is you got Utah, Oregon whenever they're going, and that's really been it, as of late, because USC and UCLA has been down the last couple of years. So.
Washington was horrendous last year.
Yeah.
Washington State was rebuilding. Oregon State is they're lying in the weeds, but they haven't been good since Mike Riley left. Arizona's
terrible.
Like they might be the worst team in college football. Then you have Arizona State, which is a dumpster fire. Colorado, which when Mel Tucker was there, they were competitive, but they're now a dumpster fire. So who do you add? Like, do you add anybody? Do you just accept the impending fate of doom and merge with the Big 12 and just try to make some sort of super Western conference?
I think you try to merge with the Big 12 because, BYU just went to the Big 12. Mm-hmm. UCF's going to the Big 12. So, you're losing out on a lot of teams. You got to try to get somebody to come in that can be competitive, that can
and name recognition.
Get you that revenue.
Yeah, brand recognition. Well, it's a smart decision for the Pac-12 to join the Big 12 because the Big 12 has all the money. Big 12 has a ton of money. They have a ton of money with just Oklahoma State. They have a ton of money with, right now with Texas, but that'll be gone. But that they need another superpower to come in that has money and can bring revenue, and that's Oregon, Utah. The Arizona schools can bring some money if they get good. When they're good, they're profitable, but when they're not, they're not. But I don't know. It's getting interesting. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun real soon.
The G5 they're kind of screwed. Because like FCS has got their own little thing going with their own playoffs and national championship, and the G5 is just kind of left hanging.
Yeah, it's going to be
like the freaking.
It's going to be interesting.
The Akrons and the Kent States of the world, like they're like left hanging. Like, what do they do? They should just form their own league at this point.
I would.
Just get their own. it's like the high school model. A national champion's a national champion. You just have your own tournament, you know. There's no it's not less of a national championship. It's like a 7A versus a 4A state champion, you know. It's kind of like that model. You're still a state champion.
Yeah.
You know?
That is true.
You still claim it. Like Valdosta State is still a national football champion. They're Division II, but they're still a national champion. You know?
Yeah, you got to figure out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. So they're going into the conferences this coming season? Or next season?
Next season. So they got one more year. They're going to 24. They got the rapid eject. They hit that. They watched Top Gun one too many times. They just pulled the eject button.
Yeah, eject those feet, cuz we're out.
Hey, Pac-12. See you.
This is our 2-week notice that we're letting you know that we're out.
Hey, we're short-staffed. Oh, that sucks. We could really use you. I bet you could. Sorry. Good luck, though. Yeah. Well, that's good for Utah.
It'll be fun. Good football.
It'll be really good football. Big Ten will be interesting. Can you imagine being a director of football operations now in the Big Ten? Can you imagine being a director of volleyball operations? And you have to travel from East Lansing to LA.
Yeah, you're gonna have to compete, boy. Compete. Which is good for them. They want to compete. Well, here you go. You got to get a whole lot of get you some.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great statement, by the way. But as we wrap this thing up, as we get closer to July 4th, grilling season. What's on the grill for you this weekend?
We got a new smoker, so
Ooh.
we're gonna do some smoked chicken. Our meat man came by the other day, so got a lot of chicken and steaks and things like that. So
you see, in South Georgia, you have a meat man.
He sold it to us.
Mayberry
grass fed, so and so. I was like, yeah, I'll try some. So we got a cooler full of meat. Still some meat from the deer that my wife and I shot. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun 4th. Gonna get some rest, man. It's been a long, long summer, and Big Red has not been kind to us at all.
Mm-mm. Big Red is not. Big Red, like the devil definitely came down to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, man, it's hot.
I saw him walk across the football field a couple of times. He said, "What's up?" But now we're in monsoon season now. It's raining every hour or so now.
See, we're about to be in the dry monsoon season where it ain't gonna rain at all.
That's what we had last week. There was no rain, but it was hot. Now it's like occasional thunderstorms everywhere you turn around now. So
we ended our wet monsoon season like late spring or early June, May, early June, and then it just goes dry till like September.
Yeah, we're to the point now where it's raining 1 mile away, but sunny, a mile up the road, which is weird, but it is what it is.
We're at the part where we go on our game field and it's crunchy. Even when we diligently run the irrigation system, it is still crunchy.
Oh, bless it.
That's how dry it is. That's how quick it is because it's so hot too. And there's not a cloud in the sky because it doesn't ever rain. I'm telling you, dude, we run the gamut of climates here.
Y'all got all 4, maybe 5.
We hit the cycle, man. We get that desert climate. We get the snow. We get the rain. We get the indecisive. Is it winter still? Is it spring? And then we get the devil comes out in October sometimes. Big Red goes, "Hey, I'm still here. It's October 15th, but I'm still here."
We guys didn't forget about me.
Yeah, we had to shut down this was pre-COVID. This was like the year before COVID. We had to shut down a practice in October because of heat index.
That never happens here.
Like
Not
the
in
heat
October.
index. The heat index got up to like 103 that day.
Yeah,
And I got like a
happens
stomach
here.
virus, so I was like vastly dehydrated. So like the kids were like pouring water on me to cool me off and to hydrate me, and it just I don't know. It was ACT day, so I didn't want to it was like the one day I couldn't miss, because I was proctoring and like everyone no one could cover for me. So I was like, I'm just going to drag myself in and just try to survive the day. Take a sick day the
Only
next
with the
day.
stomach virus on certain people. But the stomach virus is the worst.
Oh, it's awful. It is awful, especially. I'm not going to get into the details, but it's awful. It is not fun. But on a lighter note, I'm going ribs. Probably ribs, wings, something like that. The rib, whatever's on sale. The ribs are on sale. If I can get a good pork butt on sale, we'll go with that too.
I like it.
Go low and slow on the Traeger.
Cook it all day. I like it.
Cook it like 4 or 5 hours. Spritz it hit it with apple juice every hour, every half hour. I don't want actually every 45 minutes or so. Just occasionally, halfway through, wrap it in foil. Coat it in barbecue sauce and wrap it in foil and let it finish out. Ooh, last time I made ribs, man, it was the truth. It was the truth. So, couple new ways we're going to try to consume things. I think instead of being spread out and blasted all over social media and YouTube, I think we're going to try to control our views a little bit, try to direct everyone to the YouTube channel. So if you could subscribe to at Believe in Georgia Dogs on YouTube, the link tree is in our social media stuff. If you could subscribe there and obviously subscribe on the audio end, we can eventually monetize our YouTube channel and make a few dollars. But we got to get up to that magical number of 1,000. So if you want to subscribe, please do that. Subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification, let you know there's new video available. Leave us some feedback, leave us a comment, all of that good stuff. But yeah, we're going to kind of change our model a little bit. I think we were starting to get a lot of views, but couldn't keep track of them because it's all over the place.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. So I think we get a better grip of trying to get the view count up. So we're going to try some things. Blast out the YouTube link on social media. And hopefully try to build it up that way. We got a few weeks until SEC Media Days, until it really starts kicking off. We'll do some live stuff. I'm going to get more active on TikTok. I know I keep saying that, but I've increased my post count. I post our little audio preview on TikTok every week, and we'll start doing some stuff during the season. We got a potential deal in the works with Ray Vaughn, so. That's going to be fun for the football season coming up. That we'll talk to Brittany Harris about that. So we got a lot of good things in the on the horizon. But it's going to take you subscribing, and we got to get to that thousand mark. If we get to the 1,000 mark, Israel will do a TikTok dance, and you get to pick it. He'll do the gritty. He'll hit the gritty.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I can hit the gritty.
There you go. See, I gave you an easy one. I didn't give you a booty shaking one. So no, get to that 1,000. Let's get to that 1,000 mark, and whoever the 1,000th subscriber is, we'll try to think of some sort of prize for you. Not sure what that is at this moment because we're not quite there yet. But when I say we're not quite there yet, we're not even close. But let's get those numbers up. I think people have been hitting us up on Twitter.
Real soon.
I'll even gritty if we get to 1,000. Let's be honest. I'll gritty. I'll hit the gritty.
There you go.
I'll attempt the gritty. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'll attempt it. I'll give it a shot. But 1,000 subscribers. Let's get after it. So, but my man, Troop, we that's gonna do it for us this week. So, anything you want to say before we wrap this thing?
Everybody just be safe, over this break, 4th of July. Go watch the fireworks, be smart, and just stay safe. I heard COVID's trying to come back, so, just be safe out there in these streets.
Yeah, COVID's always trying to make a comeback, but it's just not going to happen. So, but be safe, be responsible with your fireworks, have some good stuff on the grill, crack a few Irish crickets while you're at it. And have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next week, back and better than ever. For Israel Troop, I'm Corey Burton. Like us, subscribe us, find us on social media, and we'll see you back here next week. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
This is the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.